All right. Then it being 6 p.m., I will call the Town Council meeting for Town of the Pas for August the 22nd, 2018 to order. Before we get into the agenda, I want to say as clearly as I can how completely impressed I was, and I'm sure members of council will agree, at the good work that the people who are employed here have done over the last 6 days. That was right out of left field, and it was handled professionally and quickly, and everybody rallied and knocked on doors to hand out papers, and it was just outstanding. And here we are at 3:45 this afternoon. The boil advisory has been lifted and we're back. So I just want to say congratulations to all of the employees with the Town of the Pas. Job well done. Item number 2, adoption of the agenda by resolution, please.
Moved by Councillor Rock, seconded by Councillor Zelensky. Be it resolved that the agenda be adopted as presented.
Any changes, concerns? I'll call the question then. All in favor? It is carried. Item number 3, confirmation of minutes.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Commodore, be it resolved the minutes of 2 public hearings, regular council meeting and committee of the whole, July 18th, 2018, be hereby approved. All statutory declarations having been complied with.
Any questions? Any concerns? I'll call the question then. All in favor?
I'm going to abstain just because I wasn't present on the 18th, so.
Okay. Yeah.
This is for you, Jess.
So while I'm doing this, we just at the top of the meeting, Ryan, we're talking about the incredible work that took place, and I'm happy that you're here because I could single you out as really above and beyond. You worked some long hours and a lot of heat, as it were. And so just want to congratulate you. You really handled things extremely well, and we're all very proud of your work.
Thank you. It's it was a tough week, but we made it. If it wasn't for a good crew, I don't know if we'd be in the same spot. But yeah, it was what we do.
Excellent work. Thank you very much. Okay, citizens period. I got lots to sign today, so. Yeah, they're on the agenda later. I think on coming to hold, I think. Right now.
Sorry, Ryan, we won't keep you. We just wanted to let you say thank you publicly because I know you probably want to be anywhere but here right now. So Friday morning, we'd like to thank you guys by providing coffee and some donuts at 10 o'clock. Right.
I just have a statement for the citizens period.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
Hi there.
Right, so the handout I have, just in case you can't hear me, you guys can kind of read along, I guess. So I just wanted to provide some updates on, I categorized them on the CDC projects, current destination marketing committee projects, and Tri-Council projects. So number 1, North Forge. So the Pas Community Development Corporation and UCN in partnership organized a special presentation back in May that was conducted by North Forge President Jeff Reisner at UCN. So a few months later, Doug Lofstad and Jeff Reisner put in an application for some funding to have a North Forge here in our area at UCN. North Forge is basically an incubator to help produce entrepreneurs, which you all know is what we need more of in our region. It's important to have a North Forge because the community needs to start creating more businesses, and this program will help with local entrepreneurs on their ideas to help them be successful. I will continue to provide updates as this progresses. Number 2, the CDC website. We recently launched a free job posting tab on our website, which is a new resource available to the tri-community. All you need to do is send me a job description in PDF form, and our IT guy will upload the job posting on the CDC careers page. We will also post on our social media page on Facebook, the PA Economic Development. The response to this new resource has been excellent. I received job descriptions from the whole tri-community. And also, if you want, you can view current projects that the CDC is working on our website, www.thepacdc.com. I wanted to provide an update on the OCN Aerospace Initiative. The last time I came here and spoke, it was known as the CARD North Initiative. So our task as a project that I helped put together was to develop a comprehensive training plan with costs completed by August 1st. This was completed. I got an update from Chris Cook, who's also one of the leads on the project, and he let me know that Manitoba Aerospace continues to work closely with OCN in preparing the next phase of the project to move ahead with the next step to potentially build a manufacturing plant in the Bertram building located at CKPI. So the comprehensive training plan that we put together will be to have 20 individuals trained and ready by the 24th month, which is the second quarter in 2020, to work in the manufacturing plant, where they will be producing up to 2 to 3 airplane parts for Manitoba Aerospace to start. We created an effective recruitment strategy to make sure that we are able to capture and reach all potential trainees, future employees for this project. We will ensure clients will have sponsorship options for them. We have a curriculum developed for the training itself, and UCN has agreed to be the service provider. So if approval for the business is granted in October, UCN will have a program ready for a projected date of January. And just to back up a little, I used to work for CARD, and I still have a good working relationship with them. So CARD Executive Director Marilyn Bartlett, who is located in Winnipeg, sent me their curriculum for the Industrial Manufacturing Technician Program. This is the training program that will, I gave you guys the attachment. You guys can see the training ad. So this helped to develop a portion of the curriculum, so many thanks to CARD. Number 4, I wanted to provide not a whole update on the health clinic project. So at my last presentation, we were asked to find other communities that were doing something similar to our return of service contract with Dr. Wilson. I wanted to mention a newspaper article that was recently written. You guys also have that attachment. It's regarding the Northwest Territories and how they have been successful in using return of service contracts or locums to recruit doctors. I also wanted to formally invite CAO Randy and Mayor Jim Scott for a presentation that will be given by Project Coordinator Wayne Hyde from Manitoba Healthcare Providers Network on August 30th at Good Times. I will send an invite by email. He wanted to come up to the PA, possibly with one of his other physicians that works in his office, to meet with the CDC and talk about a longer-term doctor recruitment plan that we could work through together. Also, so Randy and Jim could get a full update on the health clinic project from CDC board member Ken Cook, as he cannot be here today. We have received a final report and budget from our consultant from B6B Strategies regarding the integrated health clinic and education center. Number 5, the president of Manitoba Hotel Association visit. So Councillor Cross and I met with President Scott at Good Times last week. It was a good meeting. At the end, I discussed if there is a possibility of the PA hosting a Northern MHA conference. We'll be discussing further about that idea with the MHA president and CDC. And there's just some more information there if you wanted to know more about the Manitoba Hotel Association. Number 6 is the CDC bylaws. There's an updated version of the CDC bylaws being circulated with the board. The previous version was not up to date with the current agreement with Town of the Paw. I worked with an economic development specialist named Ruth Mealy, who helped me with the update. Once it is approved by the CDC at our next meeting at the end of the month, I will forward to Town of the Paw for your review and approval.
And just further to that, we met with Ruth when we were doing the reiteration of the CDC. If everyone remembers, Ruth came up to meet with us, so she's actually retired. We were very lucky that she helped us out over the summer to get these updated so they matched the new agreement. Because that's what happened. The new agreement came into place. The old bylaws were no longer concurrent with what was out there. So it's just more of a housekeeping thing, but it's still pretty important we get it straightened out.
Okay. So number 7, the new CDC board member, just calling it an election for now. We also have a vacant board position as Danny Halpin stepped down. I did advertise in the newspaper, on the radio, and social media. There are a few community members interested in the position. Once the CDC nominates an individual, I'll have the CDC elect a new member, and we will let Town of the Paw Council know so that you can pass a resolution to have the new member become an official CDC Board of Director.
And one last thing on the CDC side is we just got our income statements here today. So I have copies here if you guys want them, or Graham would like a copy. They look a little goofy because, as you know, we didn't get any funding this year from the town. So in a sense, it looks like you're running a deficit month after month because you're using up your bank account, right? So, and also, I guess until today, we hadn't had our check from the DMC, so that wasn't current. And with the return of service, we should have the check from the RM because they're taking on a commitment as well by the end of the week. Actually, they're waiting on us for an invoice, so that's not their fault.
On the DMC side, can we get our next invoice? Because it should have been approved in July.
There you go. Give you as many bills as you like.
Noted. All right, so for the Destination Marketing Committee projects, an update on the Travel Manitoba Live Influencer. Our live influencer we hired came to the Paw in Ocean for August 15th to 18th. This was also during the Paskwiak Indian Days. Her name is Nisha Tooley, and to back up a little bit, Ocean Chief and Council presented a $500 check to the DMC, which was a contribution for a partnership that went towards the live influencer from Travel Manitoba. She gathered content, video, and photos, and she will be writing up a blog post as well as creating social posts on our behalf. I will share these everywhere once we receive. An update on the place branding. In April, I was asked to take the lead on the place brand, and my first task was to form a committee. So that's Alan Gibb, Jerome Conady, Ben Gay from OCN, Jim Burshai from RM, Andre Brandt, a local photographer, Don Donegan, local business owner, and he also sits on the DMC, and myself. The purpose of the committee is to basically serve as the group responsible for implementation of the brand. The first function would have been to approve the creative brief. That being done, on July 19th, the place brand was presented to the place branding committee by McKim Advertising. Afterwards, Travel Manitoba asked for feedback. McKim Advertising and Travel Manitoba will be taking that feedback from the presentation and coming back with a final version of the place brand to be presented to the tri-community. Much like the session that was of this past year at the Kikuak. All will be invited once I know the date. And as part of the ask for the place brand, we are expected to give Travel Manitoba a contribution of $10,000 per year for 3 years, totaling $30,000 minimum. This was presented to the Tri-Council, and we had asked that each community contribute $5,000 each per year, which totals $15,000 as a Tri-community altogether. At the end of 3 years, as a Tri-community, we would have contributed $45,000 for our place brand. This gives us the rights to trademark our logo, tagline, as well as the marketing and advertising materials that will be presented from McKim Advertising. My 3 updates on the Tri-Council projects. Number 10, is the Transit System Working Group, it's supposed to say, sorry. So I wrote an expression of interest in EOI for the Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program. The EOI was submitted August 10th for a tri-community transit system using 2 electric buses. The EOI was for 1.6 million. I'll provide an update as this progresses. An update on the CRED fund. This has kind of been on the back burner because the Transit System and Smart Cities Challenge were ahead, and this one was not as time sensitive. So I will be arranging a meeting to meet with my working group so we can come up with an idea to submit on the application. So the working group is Brian, Councillor Brian, Jim Burscheid, and John McKenzie from OCN. And the final update is on the Smart Cities Challenge Working Group. So on June 15th, the Smart Cities Challenge met with the National Smart Cities Advisory Committee via teleconference call to discuss the next steps regarding the $250,000 prize to write our business plan. A funding authorization process form was signed at the last Tri-Council meeting, which was August 9th. We have received a finalist guide to begin the next part of the competition. Moving forward, Rose Neufeld will be the project coordinator and Derek Neufeld will be the program manager for the Smart Cities Challenge / business plan. This is not a lot of time, and we will need to help Rose and Derek any way we can as a tri-community when they need. The deadline for the business plan is for winter 2019, and they said to plan for mid-January. As part of our finalist journey, we will be engaging with the National Smart Cities Challenge Advisory Committee along the way. We have been assigned an advisor and may have some visits from the National Smart Cities Challenge team. And there was also a call this morning with our Smart Cities advisor, which will be a bi-weekly thing. And I'll keep the CDC and Town of the Pas updated on this as it progresses. That's everything.
Good report. Anybody have any comments? Okay.
You should reach out to CKP about the job posting resource on the CDC Facebook page. I'm sure they would send postings.
They sent us some.
Okay, great.
UCN would too, I'm sure.
Yeah. I've sent it to Crystal.
Okay. Good. Thank you very much. Okay. Anybody else have anything you want to bring forward?
I do.
Yes, sir.
Have a good evening.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks.
So, my name is Ryan Legacy. I'm a resident of the PAW, 418 Patrick Avenue. So I came here today as a citizen and an operator of our water system. We were in, as you know, a pretty dire situation. We worked long hours to get it solved. But one thing that would really help is upgraded Clearwell storage capacity. We're lacking in our Clearwell storage capacity. It has been an issue for years. Lots of other communities have a few days worth of water. Some have a few weeks. We have a few hours on a good day. So I'd like to challenge this council and those that come after. This has to be addressed. It's a really big issue. It's a really serious issue, and it's something that needs to be addressed. It's almost hard to deal with situations when you don't have enough time, especially in the field we are in. Things take time to repair. Parts are specialized. Equipment is 6 hours away sometimes. Lots of modules, electronic equipment we depend on is customized for our applications in most instances. So, on a good Sunday afternoon, we could be in an emergency situation. So basically we need it in the most desperate of circumstances. So yeah, I'd just like to say that, and hopefully you guys can help us in that regard. Everyone is wondering how we build a community, and water is the lifeblood of our community and others, so we need to build it strong. We don't have enough to go around. That could be a problem, so everybody hopefully can heed this warning and help us in this situation. So that's all I have.
Thanks, Ryan. Anyone want to make a comment?
Ryan, do you know what the recommended design standard is for storage?
I'm not sure. I don't have that information offhand. I know we are in the low end. It's always been in our engineering assessments. Basically, every 5 years, we hire a company to come in that's independent, and that's one of the things they check off. Do you have 24 hours of water supply? The answer is no.
I was thinking that 24 hours was the target that I remember. It's challenging.
Yeah, everything costs money, and I know, this type of thing is going to be expensive, but we got to do it sooner or later. Sooner is better, and it'll help the future operators and others that come after us, because once you build it, it's there to stay. So it's always a good thing to invest in your water.
What would that look like? How would you store that? Big overland tanks?
Essentially, you would basically build an underground tank of some sort, either at the plant itself or outside on the system somewhere. Being close to the plant, you could pretty much just have it gravity fed into the plant, whereas if you had it somewhere else, you'd probably have to have additional equipment like pumps, booster stations, whatnot. But yeah, the more water we have, the better, especially in crisis modes like this, when we're pretty much on the razor's edge.
We would have averted everything if we had 24 hours worth of storage.
Essentially.
Yeah.
One
It would
question
give us
might-
more time to address mechanical issues.
One question might be it might be an engineering question, but the RM runs their water line straight through town, right? To go through, doesn't that seem odd? Is that impossible to tie into the line in an emergency case? I don't know.
Yeah, you can't connect two separate water systems.
Yeah.
Office drinking water wouldn't allow, well, I mean, I shouldn't say you can't. It would require some special exception and regulation. There is options. I know I think it's Dauphin, they ran into a similar situation, and so what they did was, similar to us, where they have areas of dead-end water main where we're bleeding water off, residual levels up, they constructed reservoir stations and booster stations at the dead ends, and so instead of the water being wasted to ground, it's being pulled into a reservoir, stored, boosted, and then they run the system lead and lag, so the water's coming from this water plant for a period of time, and then the pumps shut down over here, and the pumps pick up over there, and they move that water back out into the system, and so you've got this continual movement in the system. It was, I know was Don Michaluk the Office of Drinking Water officer up here at a period of time?
Yeah.
I was down there with him one time and we looked at the system. He was pretty happy with that solution.
Yeah, a lot of places down south use like co-ops, so you have multiple towns on one kind of giant system. I don't know if that would be even doable here, because you'd have to run long distances of piping and the politics and logistics behind that. I don't know what that would look like, but we definitely need more water, especially if we're going to grow or we want to grow, right? Especially in winter, use a lot of water in winter. Breaks happen in winter more. Sometimes it's harder to address breaks in winter time just because everything's frozen, right? But yeah, this is one, we're pretty versatile, and this helped us a lot in this situation where we can pretty much treat almost any kind of water in terms of surface water or whatever. We can pump from different places if we need to, but it's having the capacity to basically have a buffer to, when equipment fails or whatnot. It's nice to have that buffer room.
I assume Chris and Sam, you guys have had this conversation at points in time, right?
It's been talked about before.
Yeah. It's nice to hear from you as chief plant operator.
Yeah. I agree.
definitely would save some gray hairs in the long run and that, so. I know I got some this week.
Yeah.
But, yeah, anyway, if that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Item number 5, the CEO report, please.
So the following is general operations report as of August 15th. The museum has partnered with the Paw Regional Library to host reading and crafting morning sessions. Museum also commenced the year 3 of the digitalization program. Museum hired new weekend hosts for upcoming school year. Ross Dance County Camp was held with 21 children registered. Completed swim lessons for Kids Camp Swim. This was well received, and apparently they asked if we could run it a little longer next year for the Kids Camp because they thought it was something that was much needed. Maintenance summer students have been out and about cleaning and mowing grass. New passenger boarding ramp is at the airport. This is replacing our Uber lift. Training for staff has been completed. If you're ever out there, it's a total different apparatus. It's feeling a lot safer for the people that need to use it, meaning those clients that need the assistance. So it's more of a platform now, whereas before you almost felt like you were in a scary movie getting strapped into that apparatus. And part of the problem was if there was any kind of failure on the piece of equipment, it was difficult to try to figure out how you were going to get people down. So this was, again, an issue with Comair. We just provided the service, so they've addressed it, and hopefully this is going to be something positive moving forward. So the airport is also working with Rotary in their consideration to host the Snowbirds for 2019. Election preparation is well underway. You're seeing a lot of advertising. Just a reminder, tomorrow night at 5 p.m. I'll be holding a little kind of information session on what it is for running for council, and I'll be holding another one on the 4th at noon. Patching potholes, curbing, sweeping, sidewalks, grading back lanes, all underway. A little bit of a setback this week as we had the water issue, but we're still on par as to what we were hoping to accomplish. LaRose curbing and sidewalk is near completion. I don't know if council's driven down that road. We're already getting some issues about people driving like maniacs because it's the best piece of pavement we have.
It's a pretty nice road.
So we're actually contemplating putting up some additional signs on that road to slow traffic down and also to try ward off. Now we have a lot of the semis that instead of coming through town, they're stopping there and are starting to turn. So that's creating an additional issue.
Seriously?
Yeah, I was a little shocked with that. I don't know why you would go there. It's so much easier to just go straight out.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
But we were also, I don't know if you've been there today, it looked like a heck of a dust storm in a desert. But
It was
there's
horrendous. It was-
a lot of dust in that area.
for sure.
Yeah. Public Works, again, dealing with water breaks and sewer repairs. We have lots of letters going out for bylaw infractions about clean yards. Deep well maintenance, the pump is out. We're still waiting for those to be completed. That could be a little bit yet. Public Works Foreman John Gislison has resigned after 30-plus years of service for the town. John has moved on to Hope, BC, and we wish him well. New position for fire department has started actually Monday, and this is your fire prevention person. And I submitted the grant for crime prevention, and this is something that I hope to kind of coincide with the PAW Coalition, and this is for community assessment. And the grant we applied for was $360,000 over a 2-year period. So fingers crossed on that one. And right now, working on establishing the Town of the Pasqua Coalition Board. We're going to be advertising within the next week for that position so that they can take the lead in Oceana and the town don't have to do the clerical work for it. So fingers crossed that'll be all filled by the end of September.
Shoot. Any questions? Okay, we will move along then. Bylaw 6.1, rezoning bylaw draft.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Rock. Be it resolved that bylaw number 4583, being a bylaw of the Town of the Paw to amend zoning bylaw number 4121, be read a second time with the condition that council may request a traffic study to be done at some point with expenses to be incurred by the applicant of the rezoning.
Any discussion on this? Call the question, all in favor? It's carried. Third reading, please.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Rock. Be it resolved that bylaw number 4583, being a bylaw of the Town of the Paw to amend zoning bylaw number 4121, be read a third time and passed with condition that council may request a traffic study to be done at some point with expenses to be incurred by the applicant of the rezoning.
Any discussions? It's a third reading, so it is a recorded vote. Councillor Commodore.
Aye.
Councillor Forward.
Aye.
Councillor Gibb.
Aye.
Councillor Cross.
Aye.
Councillor Rock.
Aye.
Councillor Zelinski.
Aye.
And I am aye. It is carried. All right, 7.1.1, KSD school bus pickup location resolution.
Moved by myself, second by Councillor Gibb, resolved that council authorizing the Kelsey School Division to use Crossley Park as a location for pickup of students on the east side of the railroad tracks, and be it further resolved that the town agrees to do the regular school bus maintenance as they do on other streets where the bus pickups are located.
And this is because of the future construction
Right.
of the receiving home, and it'll be too busy for kids to be picked up.
Any discussion? Call the question, all in favor? It is carried. Now, 7.2.1, Safer Communities and Neighbors Resolution.
Moved by myself, second by Councillor Gibb, resolved that council agrees to support the Safer Communities and Neighbors SCAN program in the town of DePaul.
And it's something that the RCMP are heading up.
Great. Any comments, suggestions,
It's good to
questions?
see them taking some initiative and getting this started. I know it's been successful in other communities throughout the country, so hopefully we find the same success.
I agree. Call the question, all in favor? Carried. All right. 7.4.1, Board of Revision.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Rock. Whereas the town has received notification that the sitting of the Board of Revision date for the 2018 assessment roll will be November 26, 2018 at 6 p.m. And whereas in accordance with the Town of the Paw bylaw number 4540 being the organizational bylaw, council sits as the Board of Revision. Therefore be it resolved that council sit as the Board of Revision on November 26, 2018 at 6 p.m. in Council Chambers, 81 Edwards Avenue, to hear appeals for 2018 taxes added and the 2019 assessment. And be it further resolved that council appoint Jen Early as a secretary for the Board of Revision.
Any discussion? Call the question, all in favor? It's carried. All right. 7.4.2, payroll and accounts.
Moved by myself, second by Councillor Rock. Be it resolved that council authorize the following accounts. Pay period number 13 in the amount of $102,067.79. Pay period number 14 in the amount of $103,931.89. General checks numbers 21219 to 21352 in the amount of $301,862.90. And EFTs in the amount of $191,058.26.
Any discussion? Call the question, all in favor? It is carried. All right, 7.4.3, purchase of skeleton buckets.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Commodore, resolved that council authorize the purchase of a skeleton bucket which is required for the production of asphalt in the amount of $4,972, with the monies to be expended from the Machinery and Equipment Reserve Fund.
Okay. Any discussion? Call the question, all in favor? Perfect. Carried. 7.4.4, tender T03 2018 crosswalk.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Commodore, whereas an invitation to tender was sent to suppliers and advertised on the town website and in the Apasco Times for the supply and installation of the crosswalk at 7th Street and Hogan Avenue. Therefore be it resolved that council accept the tender for the supply and installation of a crosswalk at 7th Street and Hogan, submitted by TriStar Traffic Control Systems Limited in the amount of $73,958.50, including applicable taxes.
Thank you. Any discussion on this? I'll call the question then. All in favor? It is carried. Committee reports. Councilor Rock, Museum Board.
Yes, museum held a special meeting on July the 25th, and for the main purpose being to receive the auditor's report. It was received and reviewed, and it's been tabled pending some further information regarding some of the revenue lines.
Okay.
So we'll get a report back for the next meeting.
Okay. Great, thank you. Chamber of Commerce, Councilor Commodore.
We actually went to the lake and had a nice little meeting. There wasn't very many in attendance, but yeah, we still don't have a secretary. And yeah, so things are a little bit quiet right now.
Sustainable Forest, Councilor Rock.
There's been no meetings since
Okay.
our last meeting.
Citizens on Patrol, Councilor Commodore.
We haven't had any meeting. We're having one on Tuesday, this September 4th, but the speed watch has been out. It's been out a few times, and it's going to be out the next little while.
I heard there were no speeders on Fisher Avenue.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing. That's good.
Yeah, that one day it was actually pretty good.
Okay, thank you. Destination Marketing, Councilor Cross.
We actually had a meeting today, so we reviewed some grant applications, and that had been tabled at our prior meeting in July. Unfortunately, we didn't have 100% successful applicants. We were able to partially fund a couple of the applications that came forward. So just one thing that I want to reiterate to the public when applying, one of the big things for us, aside from your event bringing people into the community and bringing heads and beds type thing, is that we do try to support the local economy. So when you're applying for events, you're more likely to get approved for a grant application if you're using local resources and that sort of thing. So one of the grants we approved partially the amounts that they were asking for that supported locally. One we tabled pending further information, and one unfortunately we had to decline because it didn't fit the mandate of the Destination Marketing Committee. Kim, our staff person, is available to help people answer questions. She has a very good PowerPoint presentation that she can go and give to different groups and stuff to help them figure out what they're going to apply for, or if it fits the mandate, or how to make it fit the mandate. And then we just talked about our finances. So just for council's information, to date, the Destination Marketing Committee since July of 2017 has spent $79,515.29. We give 90% to the applicant, and then they get 10% upon receival of a final report. So we have about $3,200 that's outstanding for the 10% holdbacks to go to a couple of groups. But yeah, that's where we are.
Okay. Councilor Gibb, do you want to add anything to the CDC report? Okay, Councilor Zelinski, Recycling.
No meeting.
How about with the Paw Community Renewal Corporation?
No meeting.
Library Board, Councilor Forward.
We haven't had a meeting this summer, but we did get a report from the administrator, more or less business as usual. A little bit of, I don't want to say issue, but some bit of a balancing act with some vacation time off and things like that. But yeah, more or less business as usual. I would add the recycling center. I was speaking with the manager out there, and so they've switched to start sorting material again recently because of the China stopped accepting recyclables from as an import, and it has an impact here in the PAW. So the companies that we send our commingled recycling to, which saved us a great deal of money 2 years ago when we switched over to commingled, the price for sending commingled to them went up by about 3 times.
Wow.
From about $45 a ton to $140 or $120, I can't remember. And it has a significant impact on the budget of the recycle center. For the moment, we've switched to attempt to see if we can sort to pick up some of that loss through revenue generation by having a commodity to sell on the market as opposed to sending a commingled commodity that we pay for. But it's creating some challenges, the challenges that come with running a sorting line in a small facility. We are, for the volume of recycling coming through there now, the existing facility is too small. So in the absence of snow and freezing conditions, we can store things outside. We can give this a test run and see if it's going to work, but we may find ourselves back in a situation where we need to send commingled out simply because the facility is too small to handle the volume of recycling at this point in time, which will cost more, which will mean that we'll have to approach the 3 funding agencies, the Town of the Paw, CN and RM for additional funding, potentially. But we're not sure where we're at with that yet. There'll be a meeting coming up early September.
Okay, good, thank you. We haven't had a meeting since, for the Kelsey Planning District since our last council meeting, so nothing new to report there. We are getting paperwork done. And there's been no meeting with the Kelsey School Division. Citizens period. Blake? No? No.
Strong.
That was a big no.
In that case, then, I will call for an adjournment. So moved. Thank you. We're going to go next door?